blinders like a horse so that you'd only be focusing on a screen in front of you. Your tormentor would be playing disturbing content over and over again as a form of psychological torture. The content can include graphic images, violent scenes, disturbing events, and other grim materials that can cause your face to show every emotion of horror possible. This can go on for hours or days, making it hard for you to sleep. Even if you do end up sleeping, you'd be in a marathon of nightmares that are probably worse than what your tormentors are forcing you to watch. The psychological torment can be immense because this can cause severe emotional trauma, especially if you're quite sensitive to graphic content. This torture aims to break you down, destroying your mental health. So even if it doesn't physically harm you, you'd be left with severe PTSD and anxiety disorders. You'd probably never want to watch a movie ever again, even if it's a Disney princess movie. Rectal feeding. If your friend invites you on a culinary experiment they call reverse dining, you may want to decline because it's not an exotic dinner experience. Instead, it's rectal feeding, a form of torture where food is introduced from the exit rather than the entrance. Your digestive system is pretty specific. It's designed to process food through the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, and the intestines. When food is introduced in a way it wasn't meant to be, like through the butt, it disrupts this delicate system. This can cause things like infections, severe pain, and even damage to the rectum itself. It's like putting a roller coaster ride backward, where everyone gets sick and confused. Rectal feeding fits this bill of what a gruesome torture should be because it's an invasive procedure that doesn't just make someone uncomfortable, but also risks their health. It's meant to break down a person's resolve and force compliance. That's why it used to be a favorite among tormentors when torturing people going on a hunger strike. It was their way of ensuring that food still goes inside the bodies of hunger strikers, but in a humiliating, degrading, and painful way. This technique is now banned because, aside from being medically dubious, it's downright inhumane. Torture is bad enough, but adding a dash of gross and unnecessary into the mix is a recipe for moral indigestion. It's like someone decided that just making you suffer wasn't enough, because they had to make it weird too. Forced tattooing. Let's say you're about to get a tattoo, but you're not getting one because you want one. Instead, it's a sick tormentor tattooing you. It's not even a design you love, but it's something so humiliating you'd rather burn your skin off. That's what you get with the torture method known as forced tattooing. Forced tattooing is someone using your skin as a canvas without your consent. This can be incredibly painful and invasive, which is why it's considered a form of torture. The process isn't just physically painful, but also deeply demeaning, as it strips you of your control over your body. But what makes it worse is that it's not a good art project. In most cases, forced tattoos are meant to humiliate you by putting different symbols or words on your body. Imagine walking around having a large penis tattooed on your forehead. These tattoos aren't even made by seasoned artists. They're more likely to be a scribble that looks like it was drawn by a toddler who just discovered crayons. And you're stuck with this masterpiece forever. Historically, forced tattooing has been used in brutal ways. For instance, during World War II, the Nazis used it to dehumanize and control concentration camp prisoners. Fortunately, forced tattooing meets the criteria of inhumane and degrading treatment under international law, making it a banned torture method. Overstimulation. Overstimulation isn't a form of sexual kink, but a torture method designed to put your senses into overdrive. Imagine being strapped on a chair and forced to watch Michael Bay's Transformers movies for hours at full brightness and with a headset on max volume. Your